Good morning. Say it after me. I love small businesses. I love small businesses. Small businesses in the U.S. are 95% in Asheville and Davidson of the quantity of businesses. 35% national, retail volume-wise. But small businesses are leaving money on the table because they have to do things like, payroll, and they have to order their inventory. I'm thinking retail here. All of the little things that the Village Store and Wood and Stone Gallery and Davidson have to do every day to keep their business running, that they don't really want to be doing all those things. I'd like you to meet Sally. Sally sells seashells by the seashore in 3 locations, about $1 million per location. And she came to us and said, I've got a problem and I need some help. So what are we currently doing for Sally? And then the real question, how can we help the Sallys of the world thrive running their small retail businesses? We built an emailed report for Sally that took all of her inventory out of her POS and put it in a place where she could make the transfers and make the orders for her business. These reports found $40,000 of missing inventory when we showed her a margin report that said there's a discrepancy between what you think you have and what you actually have on the books. That's just with an emailed report. What else can we do for Sally? Well, we want to send her SMS, both notifications of flags, opportunities. Say one of your key vendors just shipped. Why don't I get a text saying, hey, your shipment has shipped, and in 3 days it's going to be in your store. Go ahead and tell your customers now that in 3 days they should show up to open the boxes with you. Well, at the end of a long day at work, I started with my email, I got all these texts all day long. I don't really want to be working anymore, but sometimes you got to still be thinking about your business. What about voice? Alexa, how's my business?
Sales are strong this month. There is one item for your consideration.
Alexa, what should I consider?
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Alexa, what should I consider?
Beasley noticed a discrepancy in your margin. I have created a report for you to review.
Alexa, send that to my CPA.
Sure. Sending the report to your CPA. Making business easy with Beasley.
That's the concept. That's what we want to do. We want to enable businesses to make decisions more quickly with the right information. We saved Sally 8 to 10 hours per week. How are we going to do this? Lightspeed point of sale, the largest point of sale that you've never heard of. I can't see the time if someone would turn that back on for me. Largest point of sale you've never heard of. They just IPO'd with the largest tech IPO in Canada in 9 years. I've been a consultant with them for 10 years, and I really understand the small retail business market and what they need. For Hatch This in Asheville, basically where we took our minimum viable product and got the funding because we won to the minimum scalable product, where we are now. They asked us, how do we build out a $10 million business in 5 years? This is possible, not with just Lightspeed, but adding some of these other partnerships in the point of sale small business market. Other revenue possibilities, we'll come back to that slide. And there was our winning team that did Hatch This. The important people in this one, myself, who's been doing the business consulting, Brett, my developer, who helped us do that minimum viable product and now has rebuilt on the web the minimum scalable product. The other folks are casually with us and helped do this excellent branding, among other things. Where are we right now? Right now, we're in the middle of education to not only Lightspeed, but also the Lightspeed clients of what is it that they need to be doing? What do they need to be thinking about? Predictive purchasing, open to buy. We've got our 12 beta clients on board right now, going back to Montreal and Lightspeed in the beginning of June to really launch our partnership with them. And Beasley, we've got Lightspeed, we've got the email delivery. What we need to do is we need to build out the SMS delivery. I need to build out the second point of sale integration to really do that ramping pattern. And that's what we're asking for funding for. We can talk more about those numbers in the Q&A. Thank you, guys.
All right, Cam. Whoever wants to get started.
Can you tell me more about the go-to-market?
This is the conversation about Lightspeed. Actually, this slide will be a little bit better. At the bottom, Lightspeed is more than it is a software company. It is a marketing machine. Our go-to-market in partnership with them is every client they bring to us as a live lead. If we close it, they get a portion of our sales. So at the moment, we don't really have a sales team. That's the partnership.
Gotcha.
I'm interested. It's such an awesome market to go after, small businesses, and there's obviously huge need there. But intensive variation, I'm sure, from customer to customer, not only in what their needs are, but in their technical abilities. How have you dealt with that, and what's your strategy to make sure your product can find the biggest market fit?
So this is my test for a phrase I've been using. This is not software as a service. This is service as software. That's the differentiator, is that the interview process with that individual business and then the build out of the predictive purchasing strategy is really the differentiator that we hope to fill that void. Did I answer the question, or am I driving off course again?
You did. Is there a specific segment of that market that you're finding special traction with?
Because I've been a Lightspeed partner for 10 years, their main verticals are in apparel and bike and computers. Basically anytime you have, instead of like a single item that you sell multiple times, anytime you have an inventory management problem, these tools can be helpful, specifically in those verticals.
So first, I loved the way you started your presentation with the I love small business thing. That was good. And Sally sells seashells was awesome.
You got to work on saying it, though.
Yeah.
It's better than 50%. That's good. That's pretty good.
But what sort of confused me is the story that threads through that. So Sally is fictional.
No, Sally is a real.
Sally's real.
That is our real launch customer.
You have a real launch customer, and you did actually save her $40,000 or whatever it was, $20,000.
It's like 38,000, but yes, we actually found that discrepancy, and there may be legal proceedings.
And that was Beasley, not Lightspeed, right?
Correct. That was the software product that was delivering her the reports on a weekly basis that helped discover that discrepancy.
Okay. But Lightspeed is a company that has raised money. It's been viable for 10 years, I think is what you said, 9 years.
Lightspeed's been around since 2007 as an entrant into the point of sale market, and I've been partnered with them for 10 years.
Okay.
As a reseller and consultant.
I see. And so Beasley is something you've got an idea about improving it or building out another software tool.
Beasley is the adjacent product that we've built that extracts the data out of the Lightspeed point of sale system and prepares the data business intelligence for the retailer.
Okay, I think I get it now. Now, but in particular, you mentioned that I forget how you service as a software.
Service as software, yeah.
It sounds rather Salesforce intensive. Do you plan to have a large Salesforce in order to support that, or what's your strategy there?
You're on the right track for our second and third. When we start adding Square or one of these other companies that everyone's actually heard of that has no back end that actually is driving it, we will need that. At the moment, Lightspeed is our Salesforce. We give them the cut of what we take from them.
And how big is their Salesforce?
How big is their Salesforce? I think they're like over 500 people right now. Again, they have 50,000 clients worldwide using their software.
And lastly, this is Beasley growth, right?
This is Beasley growth. This is basically making a statement of how many clients do we need using our average software delivery pricing. And when you start talking about 50,000 in Lightspeed, I can't get past year 2, year 3, 2 to 8,000 inside of the Lightspeed ecosystem. To get beyond that 2 to 8,000 users, I have to add platforms. And that's where the Salesforce would come.
I see. So does anyone else, like, does QuickBooks or Square have like a they have their own sales forces that you could theoretically be cutting in and
No, those platforms are direct to consumer.
that's what I thought. Yeah.
They do have consultants networks, which I can join. I can put my product inside of it, but that is super marginal in terms of what actual consumers find. I mean, business as the consumer. When I say customer, I'm actually talking about my clients' customers. So when I'm trying to find clients, I will need the marketing group.
Can you tell me about the pricing strategy?
Sure. Right now, Lightspeed works with a product that costs $150 per month, where a end user can go in and they can build their own reports. We want to deliver that at $500 per year, so a third of the cost, and we help the end user, the retailer, build the reports that they need. That's where that service actually comes in to help deliver it and sets us apart.
So I do like how you focus on the benefits versus the nuts and bolts of it. That was very good. So Lightspeed uses a lot of partners. Is that correct? And you're going to be one of their partners that they're going to be recommending or promoting into their client base. Is that right?
That's correct. They specifically said they needed an open-to-buy solution, and we've delivered more than open-to-buy to them.
Gotcha. And are there, you'd said that Lightspeed focuses on apparel, bike, and computers. I mean, those are some of their niches.
There's some of those niches.
Are you picking certain niches?
Pet stores also. And the answer is no, because each of those individual niches I have experience with, and B, have the same underlying issues that we're trying to address.
Gotcha. So you're going to target all their niches.
Correct. There's more differentiation between two pet stores than there is between a pet store and an apparel in any given consideration.
Gotcha.
What would you say the biggest problem you solve for your users is?
This was the biggest thing we sat down and talked about the Hatch Weekend, which is like, I'm always thinking about the amount of time that we're saving, which translates directly into money. But for small businesses, the real issue is that there's opportunity over here that is really important, but all these urgent things are dealing with. And so when we start talking about what are we really delivering to people, we're enabling them to see what is important and what they need to do. That's the real delivery. It's opportunity, missed opportunity.
I do like how, some entrepreneurs value their time, some do not. And I like how your pitch talked about saving time for them, if that's important to them, and also saving money or finding money if that's important to them. So I think that's good that you're going after both.
The other piece that we're now talking more and more about is decision-making fatigue. That when you're placing all these orders, the ability to make decisions over and over and over again just starts diminishing throughout the day. We're really discovering that more than literal the amount of time during the day is why they can't make that leap over there to some things. So that's, I think, going to get worked into this, if you like that idea.
I love it, actually. How are you planning on doing that?
The short answer is one more slide and a slightly different focus. Again, this concept of I focus on time because that's what people have access to, but we're really trying to talk about opportunity loss and decision-making fatigue. And so it'll be setting specific to how I'm delivering this pitch.
So attempting to generate reports on, okay, you spent $10,000 on these things and it generated this much money, and
Oh, yes.
some data analysis.
Gross margin return on inventory, that kind of construct is super useful, but the reality is that most people running a small retail business don't know what that is. And so that's why I'm saying that this education component of what we're doing becomes super important for those businesses.
Right, but that could be seasonal, like this did better last spring, but then in fall,
Absolutely.
So
That's why if you're familiar with Open-to-Buy uses historic averages. That's why I'm actually doing a name shift. We're going to try and trademark it, which is predictive purchasing, which better takes into account seasonality. And also, not only seasonality of a particular item, a lot of folks, like the Village Store, if you go in the Village Store 3 years in a row, they have different things. Megan can't use reordering the same thing every time. Wood and Stone Gallery can't always be reordering the exact same thing every time. And so if we can get intelligent bucketing, we can say, hey, to get the diversity and storytelling in your business, you had $30,000 worth of inventory. now go make decisions about that $30,000 worth of inventory for storytelling.
Thank you, panelists. We've got time for about one more audience question, or one audience question. Does anybody have a question for Drew?
Competitors in the space? Competitors in the space?
I have competitors in the space that are significantly larger and charge a lot more. As they said at business school, go where they ain't. And so that is one of the reasons that I have stuck with small business consulting. There's not folks willing to work in that messy and, what was the phrase you used about your market? Value conscious? No, was it?
Frugal.
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 Yeah, we have the same client. They're very frugal in terms of their money and their time and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Great. With that, Drew Crawford, everybody.